Genesis.
We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years, approximately 8 to 6 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the number 2 population for 400 years. You're going to get kicked out of being number 2. You're going to go down and become number 4. Now, common sense, even a 3rd grade education would tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were number 2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're going to get when you become number 4.
President Biden, do you support reparations?
Since I haven't focused Number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of reparations. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single time. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 of our 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money. Teach them how to talk. This is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
We are owed $104 trillion on the very low end, plus $735 billion recurring. This number does not include the cost of about 50 Black Wall Streets that were decimated, nor compound interest from 2017 when Sean D. Rochester's book, The Black Tax, was published, nor the cost of Black life, nor the cost of living increases, nor the war on drugs, nor the current day pandemic. The number I'm working with is for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives. Good evening on the West Coast. Good evening in the mountain. Good evening in the central. Good evening on the East Coast. You know exactly who it is, family. Angela Nirvana, your hostess with the mostest on the reparationist perspective, bringing you those Freedmen hot topics and making the case for reparations, making the case for weaponizing our vote, socializing our suffering. Good evening, Twitter space. Good evening, Twitter. Good evening, Facebook. Good evening, ScrewTube. How y'all doing, family? I see you, The Rock, and I see my beautiful family, my new comrades that I have attained over in the Twitter space. I thank you guys so much for joining the live. Okay, so we're trying something new. I want to ask you in advance to forgive the technical hiccups. I'm trying to make sure my Twitter space can hear. I think in streaming on Twitter and trying to share with the space that the Bluetooth is not working as effectively with the laptop. I think that's why my intro had a bunch of hiccups.
Well, hello, Sister Reparationist.
Hi, family. Is that Professor Smiles? Hi, my love. And hi, all of my loves. All of my beloveds over here on the Twitter space. And the ScrewTube is tuned in and the Racebook is tuned in. I got the notice out late. I'm just trying something new. And I'm still working out the kinks, family.
I wear all the hats, but the show must go on. So if you can please mute your mics, and I'll mute mine when it's time for you guys to speak so that we won't have feedback. That would be awesome. Okay, so I'm not going to belabor because I don't really have a whole lot of time with y'all. I know I always say I'm going to get off of here quickly, and I was born to talk, so I never quite come in and land like I'm supposed to. But shout out to you, the family, for your grace yesterday. You will not believe my daughter's new driver out there in my car. Oh my God, it just started doing crazy things on her. And it was a hot ass mess. And I had to jump off so I could go and save the day. And the car is now at the shop. I have a rental. All is well. Oh Lord, why am I holding this phone up like this? I'm acting like y'all can't hear me if I brace the phone over here. I think y'all can hear me. My whole set start trying to fall down. I'm trying to put y'all close to the speaker because I've got some things to share with you all. Remember now, my mic is off. Okay, can y'all hear me?
Okay, yeah, now.
Oh, my apologies, Lord. I'm trying to wear all 5,000 hats, and I'm not doing that great. But we're gonna work through this until we master it. It's imperative that I get the word out everywhere that I can, and I beg your patience as I work out the kinks of this new way, so that I can be inclusive of the amazing voices over in the Twitter space. We've got some heavy hitters over here, and I thank them so much, along with my heavy hitters in my chat over here on ScrewTube. So if you want to see it live, you can toggle between your Twitter or your Facebook or your ScrewTube. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. I'm going to wave my banner at the bottom so that you guys can see all the ways in which to bless the broadcast. This costs me to bring it to you live. Not that I mind. We're going to go on, whether it's out of my pocket or whether y'all finance it, the show will go on. The broadcast must go on because it's a hot mess right now, and we've got a whole line to save. So I'm not messing around. I'm going to have to do this with or without assistance. I'm being shadow banned. So the best thing you guys can do, and it's free, is to like, share, subscribe, and turn on your notifications, especially share, because nobody makes the case for weaponizing our vote and socializing our suffering like TRP. I'm just going to put it out there and make it 100 trillion. Okay? So anywho, without further ado, so yesterday, you guys were so gracious. You allowed me to jump off to go and save the day with my daughter, my car. And I thank you so much for that. Let me stop sharing this screen. Okay. Yeah, I thank you guys. Oh, why is that like that? Anywho, let me not toggle too much. And we were in the middle of talking about the puckery with E-Verify. Okay. When I had to jump off, I couldn't finish the article. But I want to finish that article because, family, it is very critical that you understand the Freedmen voter strategy ain't a party thing. It ain't a party thing. This is a Freedmen flourishing thing. And as you can tell, waiting on tangibles has gotten us tied to the bottom of the Titanic as the anchor of the country's capitalism, okay? With 3 Ks. So, clearly, voting blue, no matter damn who, is to our peril. And every time we show up in this space, this is day 7, because I've got a lot of new folks in the new black media with bigger bases than mine, and they have the loudest voices, and they are really, they support staying home if you don't have tangibles. And I'm saying, how is that working for us as American freedmen when we've got Joe Crow, whom 86% of our electorate, not me, delivered him and Kabami the White House? That was the only way they could win, right? Was for the Coon Clyburn to get involved. And Kabami was 4th in her own presidential run out here in the state of California. The only way she could get in was to be backdoored. Okay, let's keep it a buck. And so I'm trying to share with you how reckless it is that we don't get invested in a protest vote for our own survival. Otherwise, we leave the fate of our lineage in the hands of immigrants who seek to replace us and Crayola white supremacists who hate us down to our baby toe. They want to see us perish. They want us to see us as few in number as the Indians. Okay, and it's happening in real time. So I'm making the case over here. So let's go back to that article because I want to finish that up before I move on to the next topic, okay? So we left off here. Businesses have every reason to avoid E-Verify. So far, no executives have been charged by the federal government for illegally employing workers. States rarely enforce E-Verify mandates against businesses, which brings us to the third group that doesn't want E-Verify to work, the politicians. This is where we left off. E-Verify allows politicians to have it both ways. Supporting it makes them look tough on illegal immigration, while the fact that it's so easy to evade means their local businesses and economies are largely unaffected. Thus, politicians who support E-Verify get the political benefits without their constituents paying the economic cost. Me speaking. So the Democrats are famous for creating the problems and then wanting our vote to be the solution. And throughout tonight's broadcast, you're going to hear that a lot. I'm going to point that out where the Democrats are creating American freedmen problems, all the while only showing up for our votes so that we can continue to vote against our own interest. Okay, so just stick a pin in that. Remember, as I go through every article, that this is what they do. They win both ways. It allows the politicians to have it both ways. That's in everything they do. They play both sides against the middle, and we continue to lack the political education to understand that we are being replaced. Okay, so let's jump down. Okay, undoubtedly, there are some politicians who support E-Verify because they think it will work, but conviction is greater when principle is cheaper. Okay, so both parties suck. Both parties are in on the act. The Freedmen voter strategy is about finding those who are interested in closing the borders. There will be a lot of other puckery surrounding these politicians, but you must have the backbone of our ancestors, okay, who knew when to pivot from the Repugnant Klan party, from the Repugnant Klan party to go to the Dixiecrat Democrats, because the Dixiecrats are still in the Democratic Party. Don't get it twisted. Lots of these folks like Joe Crow with 3 Ks and Crooked Hillary with 3 Ks, they were once on the Repugnant Klan side. And so you've got a lot of Repugnant Klans in Democratic clothing in the Democratic Party right now, pretending to be for the people, pretending to even be for us. Oh, they make a lot of pretty speeches on the way to the vote. And then you get to see time and time again in 60 years how we got to the bottom. Because they lie. They don't intend to do anything for us but to extinct us. They're seeking to replace our vote the way that they neutralized us economically. Back to the text. You guys raise your hands in Twitter space when you want to bless the mic, okay? Raise your hand, send me a request. Thank you for being here. So, let's go down. Mississippi isn't the only state where E-Verify has failed. In an infamous series of raids in 2006, ICE arrested nearly 1,300 workers at Swift & Company meatpacking plants across the Midwest, all of whom had passed E-Verify checks. How many more raids need to happen before lawmakers realize that E-Verify is not the silver bullet they were promised? Oh, they know that. Let me help you understand. This helps them because you have to understand that corporate owns our government. Corporate owns our government. And in so being, the government is really working for corporate. They don't give a damn about the people, and they give even less of a damn about American freedmen. They want us gone. But the trick bag is these immigrants who are getting all this favor and all of our reparations and protections don't even remotely understand that when they extincted us to as few in number as the Indians, they're on the chopping block next, right? Because this is kind of what it felt like during Reconstruction. This is kind of what it felt like when the boomers got civil rights and when they got affirmative action. And now you see that they've got a whole new Crayola white supremacy that they can import into the country. Now you see that they've got that going on. What are they doing to American freedmen? Okay, this is what they did to the poor whites. They weaponized American freedmen for an hourly rate to drive the wages down for the poor whites. So they're weaponizing American freedmen against ourselves to get us voting to give these immigrants and refugees position over us, creating the problems and then wanting our vote to be the solution. So please understand that this works for politicians because they're in the pocket of corporate who owns America. These corporations love suppressed wages. And because Black folks won't stand for it, they're now pivoting to a third, well, now we're like fourth class, okay? But they're bringing in the immigrants to replace us so that the wages can stay suppressed and that inevitably they'll starve us out. And I have all the support to prove what I'm telling you in today's broadcast. I don't know if we'll cover it all, but I'm going to do as much of it as I can, and we'll be back tomorrow. Okay, back to the text. E-Verify simply does not work. It's systematic design flaws make the program destined to fail. By design, family. Congress has never seriously debated E-Verify. Its reauthorization by this November provides a golden opportunity to re-examine this program in light of all its failures. Me speaking, God just gave me a thought. My inner Christ just spoke to me. This is akin to how these glacier donkey race soldiers go out here and execute us with impunity, and the Democrats say, well, they just need more training. Yet you see them taking their mass murderers alive, taking them to Burger King. So you know it has nothing to do with training and everything to do with being able to execute us by state sanction. Back to the text. Fixing the legal immigration system by allowing more low-skilled workers on temporary visas and green cards will remove the need for E-Verify entirely. Fixing the legal immigration system by allowing more low-skilled workers on temporary visas and green cards will remove the need for E-Verify entirely. After all, if workers can come legally, then they won't come illegally. That's the only way for Congress to permanently fix the problem of illegal immigration. In the meantime, Congress should scrap E-Verify, stop pretending the system could ever work, and go back to the drawing board. So that's it of that article that I wanted to share with you. Let me go to the next. Now, the effects of immigration on African-American employment and incarceration. So before I even dig into this article, this is dated May 2007, but it's still true in 2022. What these Democrat Dixiecrats have in mind for us is state-sanctioned execution and the not-so-new slavery inside the private prison industrial complex, while giving immigrants all of our reparations and protections. They're allowing immigrants to be more American than American freedmen. The 1980 to 2000 immigrant influx, therefore, generally explains. Let me just jump. That's at the top of this thing. I'm going to go in. It'll bring us back to that point. Almost everybody knows that in the past 40 years, the real wages and job prospects for low-skilled men, especially low-skilled minority workers, I hate that word, have fallen. And there is evidence, although no consensus, that a rising tide of immigration is partly to blame. Oh, no, it's wholly to blame. If all these immigrants weren't in this country, they got 47 million, 47 million immigrants in this country. They claim that includes the 12 million illegal. I doubt it. They lie so much. I would venture to say that 11 million is probably on top of the 47, which puts it, 58, 59 million of them. While they claim we're only about 13% of the population, while they claim we're only about 44 million, when we're probably more like 65, 70 million, according to Congressman Greg Marcel Dixon. So that's what they do. They're playing these Jedi mind tricks akin to the way they played us on those of us that were here prior to the Mayflower. They're playing us in all these different ways to deny us access to the truth of who we are. As not just American freedmen, descendants of U.S. chattel slavery, but also the indigenous. Yeah. If we were here before the Mayflower, aren't we entitled to everything these Native Americans, including the white ones from the Dawes Rolls, are entitled to? And yet, the Black, Seminole, and Cherokee descendants of Indian enslavement have yet to receive a dime. The Black Cherokee descendants of Cherokee slaveholders just got the right to identify as Cherokee. They've been denied that right and have yet to see a dime of all those reparations the other Indians that enslaved us and the whites from the Dawes Roll receives. They're getting millions per month off of these casinos, free land. The Kuhn-Clyburn just gave them the Catawba bill, right? That just passed. They got even more casinos tax-free and even more land. So you've got, this is why I tell you that white supremacy is Crayola. Lots of folks in the CBC are doing the white supremacist bidding to keep us oppressed and just to help ethnogenocide us right about this piece. Pay attention. Okay, so although no consensus, that a rising tide of immigration is, I say, wholly to blame. Because if they didn't have the illegals to take over in the workforce, they couldn't suppress the wages, and who would they have to hire if it was still predominantly black and white? Okay, and they have put immigration on thousands since, let's see, Joe Crow has just imported 2 million, I believe it's a greater number than that, illegals into the country, and they're giving them the farm, literally. And we're about to get into those stories as well. Now, a new NBER study suggests that immigrants have far more reaching consequences than merely depressing wages and lowering employment rates of low-skilled African American. I call us American freedmen. American freedmen males. Its effects also appear to push some would-be workers into crime and later into prison. Me speaking. This is problematic because if the black man cannot work, he cannot provide for the black woman and the children, right? For the freed woman and the freed babies, right? And this is why they've been coming for our men since Africa traded us into slavery. They have been coming for our men on so many fronts. It is utterly ridiculous, and it is why you see so many more freed women having to raise freed babies single-handedly. The freed man wants to come to you to be able to provide for you. But institutional systemic racism and the weaponization of immigration against freed people, our freedmen in particular, has neutralized him economically. He's forced now more than ever to come up with a way to pull himself up by his bootless straps. Now, I'm not making excuses. I do expect our men to rise up like the giants they are, but I do get the wall that they have to mount, which is far more intense than our wall. It's crazy out here. If you think it's hard on freed women, you ain't seen nothing till you see discrimination in the public and private sectors against free black men. It's on a whole nother other. I just interviewed with a company, that has a max of 80,000 a year, right? Now, I've interviewed with other companies out here that pay between 80 and 100K. And they like to have these conversations about salary. Well, what's your history? And what are your demands? And so we had an amazing exchange, an amazing interview. because my current company is still paying pandemic wages, and I'm not for supplementing my investments and savings. I'm not into supplementing this particular 2/3 Black-owned company like the feds did during the pandemic. So I'm seeking employment elsewhere. And so I'm seeking what I'm worth. I'm a high-valued worker, educated, tons of experience, right? I mean, my max salary out here was $120K a year. That's how I was able to purchase my home near the beach and everything I have. And so now that they're doing everything they can to legislate us up out of here, you see it in the workplace. So I'm having a great time with this Hispanic employer, having a great time. And so we have this great exchange, and then they send me, do you have questions? And I had a litany of questions. Yes, I did. I had a litany of questions. And then what's your, salary history? And so I'm starting to see a pattern. Like, these people want us to lowball. And so I let them know what I'm accustomed to earning pre-pandemic, because that's what the pandemic is designed to do. It's designed to wipe us completely off the monopoly board, right? So when I write them back with my litany of questions, and I'm going straight to the top, 80K. I've yet to hear back from them. They haven't responded to my questions. Now, this man is a Hispanic attorney. I'm not saying I won't hear back from them, but I'm sure they're clutching their invisible pearls that I set up here and was like, oh no, I want the 80K and I want merit increases quarterly until I'm restored to 120K. That's what I'm seeking. But how dare you? You see, they think that we're supposed to come in there and lowball ourselves. Well, I want you to understand, when you're worth it, you're worth it. You got to go to your inner Christ and understand they're going to work that out. You keep showing up for what it is you are worthy of. Don't settle in these streets. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care that we down to 3% from 17 and these Hispanics have taken it over down here, over 50%. I know my worth and I'm not settling. Because what they want to do is work you like a slave for slave peonage wages. While the cost of living in California is exorbitant and going through the roof. The median home price in California is $800,000. When I consider taking my equity out of my property, I have to consider buying property out of the state. I'm priced out in this market, and that's by design. So family, stand down, know your worth, know your education and what you're worth, and don't let these people get that over on you to make you a slave where you're just going to be working 15, 20 hours a day for no money. And then, of course, you're being taxed on top of that 40%, 30%, whatever it is. Back to the text. I just wanted to share with you guys, this is happening in real time, and we need to get busy weaponizing this vote. Okay, so a new Ember study suggests that immigration has far more reaching consequences than merely depressing wages and lowering employment rates of low-skilled freedmen males. Its effects also appear to push some would-be, hold on now. I know my thing ain't about to die on me. What's that getting light about? Hold on, guys. I got to make sure I got battery and power. I think I do. I think I'm good. That screen just went light on your sister. Okay, its effects also appear to push some would-be workers into crime and later into prison. So do you see how these Democrats create the problem? Lie to us about ending qualified immunity, lie to us about letting the low-level offenders out of jail, like the nonviolent ones who are in there for peddling a nickel bag of funk, while the state turns a profit on, weed dispensaries in our neighborhoods that we aren't allowed to own because they want $1 bazillion just to be licensed to grow it and manufacture it and all this kind of stuff. I'm going to get, that's a whole nother broadcast that I'm going to bring you. So I'm not going to get too much into that, but they don't talk about the effects it has to push our brothers into a life of crime. And that puts them into prison in the not so new slavery, in the private prison industrial complex. I've shared with you guys before that when Kabami, what was she? Oh my God, I can't think of her title. But she was told, because the prisons were being overcrowded, the governor told her at the time, was she the attorney general? The governor told her at the time that she needs to release some of the low-level offenders because the jails were overcrowded. And she said, well, who will put out the fires? I think they were getting paid $1 a day to go put out the fires in the homes of whites and immigrants in the hills. So she refused to release the lower-level offenders to make room in the prisons out here for more hardened criminals. She refused to release them because she needed them to do slave labor. And then one of my brothers out of the South talked about how he was incarcerated working for the state. And when he was released, the state wouldn't hire him. The state literally told this brother, the only way for you to continue to work for us is through the penal system. Back to the text. Remarkably, as far as we know, no study has examined if there is a link between the resurgence of large-scale immigration and the employment and incarceration trends in the Black population. Co-authors George Boreas and Jeffrey Groger and Gordon Hanson write in Immigration and African-American Employment Opportunities, the response of wages, employment, and incarceration to labor supply shocks. NBR working paper number 12518. The authors are careful to point out that even without increased immigration, most of the fall in employment and increase in jail Black men would have happened anyway. Nevertheless, the racially disproportionate effects of immigration on employment are striking. Changing technology, government programs, and a stagnant real minimum wage have all been blamed for the poor labor market performance of low-skilled and minority workers. Another key reason the authors show is immigration. Using census data from 1960 to 2000, the authors trace the evolution of wages, employment, and incarceration rates for particular skill groups in the Black and white populations. They then relate the trends observed in these variables to the increases in immigration experienced by each skill group. The observed correlation suggests that immigration is an important underlying factor influencing the observed trends. In particular, their analysis finds that a 10% rise in immigrants in a particular skill group significantly trimmed the wages of Black and white men alike. So, me speaking, when white folks catch a cold, American freedmen catch COVID. Because our rates of unemployment at this present time in 2022 is almost 100% increase over white unemployment. And white high school dropouts are more gainfully employed than American freedmen degreed. Back to the text. For African Americans, the decline was 3.6%. For whites, it was actually slightly higher, 3.8%. Beyond that, however, the Black-white experience differed markedly, especially for low-skilled workers. Take employment rates from 1960 to 2000. Black high school dropouts saw their employment rates drop 33 percentage points, from 88.6% to 55.7%. The authors found in their analysis of census data from 1960 to 2000, the decrease for white high school dropouts was only roughly half that, from 94.1% to 76%. One reason the authors argue is that Black employment is more sensitive to an immigration influx than white employment. But of course it is. And let me help you understand, this is not just happening to low-skilled workers. I know quite a few people with college degrees and masters who are driving Uber and Lyft to try to string some sense of living together. And I've shared with you guys the data down here in California, how we were 44% degree to Hispanic, 17% degree in a 2004 to 2014 Color of Wealth LA report, a free PDF download. Our median income was $53,500 to their $50K. Can you only imagine what it is today? They're about, nationally, their median income is about $10,000 greater than ours. Ooh, child, this is a lot. So let's go back to the text. They then relate. So naturally, the point here is that when white folks catch the cold, American freedmen catch COVID. And this is by design. We're far more sensitive to an immigration influx, which is my primary reason for my freedmen voter strategy. You sitting around talking about no tangibles, no vote. You got nothing coming. The Democrats lie, and the repugnant clans don't owe you. You've not been their lapdogs for 60 years. So my freedmen voter strategy is for closed border candidates. You know, if you can't find closed border candidates, then vote for a third party, but get to these polls. What you cannot afford to do is stay home because you ain't got no tangibles. It's been 60 years. Do you think any are coming unless we bring the Democrats to their knees? So next, I want to go back to what I was dealing with yesterday, because I want to tie it in to what's happening right now in New York, where the illegals are getting the royal treatment in housing. And I want to show you some things. I want them to be memorialized in this broadcast. I want to juxtapose how the illegal immigrants are being treated as compared to the 58% of homeless Blacks in New York City. While Black folks got Eric Adams elected as mayor. Ooh-wee. Let me do this one real quick. Supporting illegal immigration means opposing Black workers. This is a more recent article, August 22nd, out of the Newsweek. Let's jump into this a little bit. The debate over how to handle illegal immigration has reemerged amid concerns that the Joe Crow administration, that's my word, may not have a sufficient plan in place for the end of the Title 42 public health order, which is set to expire on May 23rd. The order was enacted in March 2020 and required the expulsion of unauthorized adults and family units arriving at U.S. land borders. And there is bipartisan concern that ending Title 42 will result in a surge of illegal aliens at the border. The Joe Crow administration is preparing for as many as 18,000 migrants per day. From healthcare facilities being required to provide services to migrants, to schools across the nation being required to educate migrant children, the effects of illegal immigration are already being shouldered by many. But there is an economic consequence that directly impacts one demographic. They call us Black Americans. I call us American freedmen, because that is what's in the Constitution. Back in 2008, the United States Commission on Civil Rights assembled a panel of experts whose findings were released in a report called The Impact of Illegal Immigration on the Wages and Employment Opportunities of Black Workers. The commission found that illegal workers comprise as much as 1/3 of immigrants, and that illegal immigration creates a surplus of low-skilled, low-wage labor in the U.S. labor markets. Experts on the panel testified that while illegal immigration to the U.S. depresses employment and wages for low-skilled American citizens, Black men are disproportionately affected. About 6 in 10 adult Black males have a high school diploma or less, and Black men are disproportionately employed in the low-skilled labor market, where they are more likely to be in labor competition with the immigrants. The commission noted in its findings. Once again, it's not just happening to low-skilled workers. I've shared with you guys on many broadcasts about how they replaced American freedmen at Wells Fargo in Black communities with immigrants. Yes, they did. You'd be hard-pressed to go into a bank in a Black community that's being gentrified right now and see Blacks behind the retail counters all the way up to upper-level management. So don't let them fool you into believing this is just happening to the low-skilled workers. Dr. Vernon Briggs, Emeritus Professor of Labor Economics at the New York State School of Labor and Industrial Relations at Cornell University, told the commission that both Black Americans and illegal aliens are disproportionately concentrated in large metropolitan areas where competition between the two groups over jobs is likely to be extensive, me speaking. Ergo, you see the governors of Texas and Arizona dropping off these illegal immigrants right into our communities and giving them the luxury treatment and wanting to give them the right to vote locally, which is a precursor to them voting federally. And who do you think they're going to vote for? The ones who are giving them our reparations and protections. Now, who might that be? I'm glad you asked. The Democrats. Back to the text. To illegal immigrant workers, even low wages often in the U.S. are higher than in their home country. And employers take advantage of this through preferential hiring of illegal workers, totally ignoring E-Verify, like I just read to you all. More out of pragmatism than bad intent, Briggs noted. No. Pragmatism is the bad intent. What are you talking about? They're always trying to escape their nefariousness and their institutional systemic racism to ethnogenocide our group, particularly and specific and only about the country our ancestors built with their lives. Weaponize this vote. Back to the text. That competition between illegal immigrants and Black men keeps wages down. Entry-level jobs that are typically filled by low-skilled workers are supposed to be stepping stones that allow those workers to gain experience, develop their abilities, and a solid work ethic, and prepare them for their next job, often one that comes with higher compensation and benefits. And systematically reducing the number of Black males in those entry-level jobs by artificially increasing competition is counterproductive to income and wealth creation for Black Americans. A 98 study found that for each 1% increase in the immigrant proportion of an occupation, the wages for Black Americans in that occupation were reduced by about 0.5 percentage point. To put it bluntly, as illegal immigration increases, Black income and wealth, they say decrease, I say disappears. And Black Americans, American freedmen, aren't just paying with income. Diminished employment and income opportunities can also negatively correlate with the marriageability of Black males. Didn't I say that? Black men can't make a living they can't provide for their wives, for their children. Do you understand what I'm telling you? This is why there's such a gender war going on right now. Don't you think this does something to Black men, to American freedmen? Of course they're going to lash out at American freed women, whom this country has intentionally put above the Black man so that they can ethnogenocide us up out this piece that our ancestors built. All these groups are eating from the wealth that American ancestors, our ancestors built that wealth. And they're doing this to the Black man because, hey, we've already given 20 million plus babies back to God. So now if you neutralize the Black man economically, he can't provide for the wife and children. A wife and a woman and a mother can't be to our young men in particular the freed man, husband, father in the home. We can't do that. So what happens? While the Black woman is trying to be both the husband and the wife, the mother and the father, the kids are latchkey. Can't get jobs. All the workers are Hispanic children and teens. getting all types of scholarships and free rides, while our children turn to a life of us selling drugs and things to try to survive. Next thing you know, they're the not so new slaves in the private prison industrial complex. But this is what we keep voting for, family. This is what we voted, not me. Well, let me help you understand. We were misdirected when we formally co-founded the former ADOS movement. We were misguided by folks who probably are being paid. Let's keep it a buck. Lots of grifters in the reparations movement told us to go out here and vote dim down the ticket. They pretty much signed us up for the guillotine, because that's what the Democratic Party is to American freedmen. Not the other groups. We're the only ones in distress when the Democrats have a trifecta. The other groups got the bag and protections. And the corporate mainstream media gets to flip the narrative to make the country and the nation and the world believe that we're the ones who are committing all these hate crimes, when it's in fact them. A Pew Research Center study found that 71% of adults said it was very important for a man to be able to support a family financially, to be a good husband or partner. It's the number one reason for divorce. Economics, income inequality. This means that young Black men who are unemployed or who are in lower income quintiles may have less opportunities to find a spouse, which is problematic, since getting married before having children is one of the three things one should do to avoid poverty and to join the middle class. Overall, the data show that illegal immigration deprives low-skilled Black American workers of employment, which robs them of future earnings and savings potential. Me speaking, do you now see why I am for Trump's border walls? This was not going on during Trump. And so while he was protecting, the poor whites by and large, and the waning middle class of them, and they're still more wealthy than us, we were more protected under that umbrella than we are under the liberal POC, give all of our rights and reparations and protections to everybody so that we can disappear you. That's the Democrat Dixiecrat plan for American freedmen. Reduced access to entry-level jobs limits opportunity for better paying jobs and increases one's chances of remaining in generational cycles of poverty. As policymakers, activists, and other stakeholders continue to explore ways to address the crisis on America's southern border, they should remember that when they support unfettered illegal immigration to this country, they are standing squarely against the interest of Black American freedmen workers in particular. That was Newsweek, y'all. So let me see. Okay, no hands yet. Y'all are really intently listening. I'm going to come over to ScrewTube family. Keep chatting. I'll be with you momentarily. And then we're going to share your comments with the Twitter space, okay? Okay, so this is let me jump, y'all. What time is it? Oh my God, I'm almost at an hour. Jesus. Okay, let me see. I may save that one for tomorrow. Let me save that. I'm jumping through my articles that I've got open. Okay, I told you guys that the foreign-born population hit record 47 million in April of this year. An analysis, okay, it increased 2 million since January 21, which is when Joe Crow assumed office, driven largely by illegal immigration. This is dated June 1st, 2022, and I'm reading from CIS.org, Center for Immigration Studies. An analysis of the Census Bureau's monthly current population survey, CPS, shows that the total foreign-born population, legal and illegal, in the U.S. hit 47 million in April of 22, a record high in American history. The foreign-born population includes all persons who are not U.S. citizens at birth. The size and growth of the foreign-born population in the CPS are important because, unlike arrival figures for legal immigrants or border apprehensions, the CPS measures the total number of legal and illegal immigrants actually living in the country, which is what ultimately determines immigration's impact on American society. There is a good deal of variation month to month in the data, but the 2 million increases in the foreign-born population since Joe Crow took office at the behest of 86% of our electorate, not me, last January is both large and statistically significant. The dramatic growth is also quite striking because the foreign-born population to grow at all, the dramatic growth is also quite striking because for the foreign-born population to grow at all, new arrivals must exceed both immigration and deaths, as all births to immigrants in the U.S., by definition, add only to the native-born population. So the new arrivals must exceed both immigration and deaths for this to be pulled off effectively. You don't think the Democrats know that? You don't think that that's why they're giving them a lap of luxury in New York? They're all working in tandem together at every branch of government to make them more American than American freedmen. While we suffer the highest rates of unemployment, underemployment, homelessness, evictions. So they know, Joe Crow knows exactly what he's doing. He's seeking to replace us. Okay, let's keep going and keep reading this piece. It's also quite striking because for the foreign-born population to grow at all, new arrivals must exceed both immigration and deaths, as all births to immigrants in the U.S. by definition add only to the native-born population. The 47 million foreign-born residents, legal and illegal, in the country in April of 2022 is the largest number ever recorded in any U.S. government survey or decennial census. Dr. Claude has been sounding the alarm for 40 plus years. The total foreign-born population, legal and illegal, increased by 2 million in the first 16 months of Joe Crow's administration, from January 21 to April 22, twice as fast as the U.S.-born population grew. That bears repeating. The total foreign-born population, legal and illegal, increased by 2 million in the first 16 months of the Joe Crow administration, from January 21 to April 22, twice as fast as the U.S.-born population grew. And yet you've got these Democrats more concerned over abortion rights than they are our social justice and economic advantage, an end to qualified immunity in our reparations. Back to the text. We preliminarily estimate that illegal immigrants accounted for 2/3 of the growth in the foreign-born population since January 21, or 1.35 million. Taking a longer view, since 2000, the total foreign-born population has grown by 50%. It's doubled since 1990, tripled since 1980, and quintupled since 1970. But our electorate keeps voting for this. Ergo, my title, American Freedmen will be replaced, waiting on tangibles. Taking a longer view, since 2000, the total foreign-born population has grown by 50%. It's doubled since 90, tripled since 80, and quintupled since 70. I think I just read that. Sorry, guys. As a share of the total population, the foreign-born now account for 14.3% of the population. The foreign-born now account for 14.3% of the population, or 1 in 7 U.S. residents, the highest percentage in 112 years. As recently as 1990, they were 1 in 13 U.S. residents. So basically, they're claiming that we are fewer in number than the immigrants now, because they keep saying we're around 12 or 13%. If present trends continue, the foreign-born share of the population, let me go back to that thought. They claim we're 12 or 13%, but will admit that we've been undercounted and underrepresented in the census due to homelessness and folks not participating. But now that we've got the data disaggregated here in California, prayerfully, we will get an accurate count, but it's going to take us hitting the streets and talking to the people and explaining to them the necessity of claiming American freemen descendant of U.S. chattel slavery in these census. Prayerfully, it's not too late. If present trends continue, the foreign-born share of the population will reach 14.9% of the U.S. population in September 23, higher than at any time in the nation's 246-year history. I hope you understand how we're being replaced. On average, the foreign-born population has grown by 132,000 a month since Joe Crow took office, compared to 59,000 per month in Obama's first term, 76,000 per month in Obama's second term, and 42,000 per month under Trump before COVID-19 hit. Let's deal with Trump. 42,000 under Trump prior to the COVID-19, 42,000 per month under Trump, and 132,000 a month under Joe Crow. But our electorate thought it a novel idea to replace an overt racist in office of 4 years with no record against American freedmen, with covert racist, plural, in office about 60 years combined, with records against American freedmen several New York City blocks long because he tweets mean tweets, and calling Africa, who sold us into slavery, a shithole country. And folks look at me crazy, and I don't have millions of folks in the subs, and folks are still intending to continue to march their happy asses to the polls, to continue to do this to our peril, because they refuse to be politically educated as to how we must neutralize our most imminent threat, or we're done. And we are out of time. We ain't running out of time. It ain't going to take the 2053. We're already here. We're out of time. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Back to the text. While much of the recent increase in the total foreign-born population is due to illegal immigration, those in the country legally still account for 3/4 of all foreign-born residents. The states with the largest increase in the total foreign-born population from January 21 to April 22 are California, up 527,000. Florida, up 390,000. Pennsylvania, up 375,000. Michigan, up 247,000. Georgia, up 152,000. Arizona, up 148,000. New York is up 145,000. Tennessee is up 130,000. And South Carolina is up 128,000. Okay, guys, I'm moving on. I'm trying to skip around so that I don't, I want to get to this main event before I read the comments over here from Twitter's, from ScrewTube. You guys, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Thank you for getting the Reparations Perspective to 1,000 subs. That was mostly my Twitter space family who came into the rescue. I was shy about 15. And on day one, they went in there and they subscribed. I greatly appreciate you for that. I StreamYard to Facebook, Twitter, and ScrewTube, and now Twitter Space. I'm trying to make my messages go viral, but I can't do it without your help. Okay, family? So let's move on. So yesterday I was speaking with you guys about, hold on, guys. Did I lose that article? We were talking about the undocumented. I think, oh my God, Professor Smiles, do you recall? I think it was 3.5 million undocumented workers are homeowners.
Let's see. It was around 3.6 million undocumented workers who are homeowners. I think it's around 28% that are homeowners in this country, y'all, that are undocumented. That tells you how serious this issue is, that we got these people coming in here. They're able to become homeowners before we are. And a lot of us are losing our homes.
Thank you for weighing in. I appreciate that. So we talked about that. Well, I've got some other puckery to share with you about Eric Adams in New York City. Let me get to that article and then I'll show you some footage. Just a second. Oh, I want to do this one first. Hold on, guys. Hold on. I wanted to talk about how we got to this crisis at the border. Hold on, guys. Let me, where'd the article go? This is to my point that this is to my point that the Democrats create the problems and then want our votes to be the solution. While, you know, having ethnogenocidal plans to extinct us to as few in number as the Indians. Okay, is due to the okay, hold on, guys. What caused the U.S. border crises? Academics claim the immigration crisis was a result of American intervention in Central America during the Cold War, with high amounts of political instability, violent crime, and poverty stemming from the U.S. support of authoritarian regimes. Okay. Yeah. Hold on, guys. I'm going to deal with that one tomorrow because I really want to get to the main event. I want to talk about how Eric Adams is giving. Okay, somebody's requesting to speak. Hi, Goddess. Oh, did she drop? Okay, Goddess, if you want to bless the mic, anyone wanting to bless the mic, just send a request and raise your hand and I'll get right to you. Okay. Okay, go ahead, Professor. Bless the mic. Let me mute.
Yes, thank you once again, Sister Reparations, for hosting another wonderful space, as we need to know what is going on out here, because as for so many of us, including myself, we have been guilty of going to those polls, voting for these Democrats, like it was just our lives depending on that. They always like to tell us, and now we need to turn it around. And we don't need to just go and give our votes away to these people anymore. I've been guilty of it, and I voted for this nut job that's up in the office now because of some issues that I thought he was going to really work on, such as police reform and, of course, student loan debt cancellation. And as we see, that hasn't happened. Immigration, obviously, that's not an important issue with this guy. So we need to weaponize our votes. By the way, everybody in the room, please retweet out this space to everybody. Share the information with your loved ones, with your friends, just to anybody, because we need to make sure that this gets out here. All this information needs to get out here to all those that are dedicated to this issue of reparations, immigration policies, reform, police reform. So please get this information out there to everybody.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Anyone else want to bless the mic? Raise your hand. And I'm happy to allow you to bless the mic and share with my audiences abroad. I wanted to bring this up. Hold on one second. Luxury hotels, immigrants. Luxury. Okay, guys.
New York trying to provide for all these different people.
Hold on, guys. Just a second. I didn't want to play that just yet. I want to talk about it a little bit, and then I want to share you what's going on. I want you to see. I want you to have a visual of the luxury that these illegals are living in, and I want to juxtapose that to the conditions of American freedmen on the streets of New York. It is diabolical. So stand by. Let me, for some reason, my article is not showing. So I have to, if I just beg you guys' patience, I wear all the hats. And so sometimes things get lost because I have so many windows open. Let me put my article again so I can read and comment. Thank you for your patience. And this article is from 3 days ago. Inside the $700 a night luxury New York City hotel, The Row, where thousands of migrants will be housed. Migrants arriving in New York City from the border will be housed temporarily in this luxury Manhattan hotel. The $700 a night, The Row, in the tourist hotspot of Times Square. But they'll be assigned to ring-fenced floors and will be told to use a separate entrance to the tourist, being charged top dollar to stay there. I see your request. I'm coming. Raise your hands. I'll be with you. Woo, to Jesus. Do Black Jesus, okay? Popular with people traveling for business and pleasure, The Row, described on travel review sites as merging New York City's grit with grandeur, will become a hub for housing migrants on the taxpayer's dime in the coming weeks. The 4-star Row on 8th Avenue between 44th and 45th Streets is in the heart of Manhattan's Broadway Theater district and boasts classic New York City views, a full fitness studio, a communal workspace equipped with Apple's $2,000 iMac desktops, and a lounge where hand-stretched pizzas are $20. Its bar menu boasts cocktails costing up to $19 each. A glass of champagne is $22. Room prices vary depending on the size, but the executive suite is $719 a night. Sources told Daily Mail that up to 4 floors of the 28-story building will be given over to New York City's Department of Homeless Services to use as temporary accommodation for families and individuals being bused to liberal cities from the borders by Texas and Arizona's fed-up governors. Staff at the hotel revealed the migrants would use a different entrance to tourists, possibly the trade entrance at the back, and be kept separate from other guests on floors allocated specifically for emergency accommodation. Security would likely be ramped up too, they said. I'm sorry, go ahead. Oh, my apologies. I've been off that whole time. My apologies. My mic was mute. Let me back this up, family, for my Twitter space. They didn't hear none of that. Oh, no. Oh, sorry, guys. It's not a whole lot. I'm working out the kinks, y'all. patience and your prayers. So, family, I am reading about on Twitter Space. You missed the whole thing. This is entitled from 3 days ago, August 2022, from the New York Times Post. Inside the $700 a night luxury New York City hotel, The Row, where thousands of migrants will be housed. I beg your patience on Facebook, ScrewTube, and in Twitter. Migrants arriving in New York City from the border will be housed temporarily. We don't even know for how long, family. In this luxury Manhattan hotel, the $700 a night, The Row, in the tourist hotspot of Times Square. But they'll be assigned to ring-fence floors and will be told to use a separate entrance to the tourists being charged top dollar to stay there. Popular with people traveling for businesses and pleasure. The Row, described on travel review sites as merging New York City's grit with grandeur, will become a hub for housing migrants on the taxpayers' dime in the coming weeks. The four-star Row, 4 stars, y'all, on 8th Avenue between 44th and 45th Streets is in the heart of Manhattan's Broadway Theater District and boasts classic New York City views, a full fitness studio, a communal workspace equipped with Apple's $2,000 iMac desktops, and a lounge where hand-stretched pizzas are $20. Its bar menu boasts cocktails costing up to $19 each. A glass of champagne is $22. Room prices vary depending on the size, but the executive suite is $719 a night. And this is what 86% of our electorate voted for. Not to shame you, but to awaken you to the Freedmen voter strategy that I've been sounding the alarm about for a couple of years. Now I'm going full court press, and I'm sure you clearly hear why. Back to the text. Now, sources told DailyMail.com that up to 4 floors of the 28-story building will be given over to the New York City's Department of Homeless Services to use as temporary accommodations for families and individuals being bused to liberal cities from the borders by Texas and Arizona's fed-up governors. Staff of the hotel revealed the migrants will use a different entrance to tourists, possibly the trade entrance at the back, and be kept separate from other guests on floors allocated specifically for emergency accommodation. Security would likely be ramped up too, they said. The staffers also said that while nothing is set in stone, the staff are all talking about it. It comes as migrant encounters at the border hit an all-time record. To Freedmen peril, me speaking. Last weekend, Customs and Border Protection's migrant encounter tracker for fiscal year 22 surpassed the 2 million mark for the first time in United States history. The majority of the fourth quarter is yet to come. Migrants arriving in New York City from the border will be housed temporarily in this luxury Manhattan hotel. The $700 a night, The Row, in the tourist hotspot of Times Square. Okay, I already read that part. It's really redundant. Migrants housed at The Row, where rooms cost up to $719 a night, will have classic Manhattan skyline views from their bedroom windows. Some migrants who spoke to Daily Mail on arrival at New York City's Port Authority bus terminal from Texas said they were looking forward to seeing the sights. Texas Governor Greg Abbott began sending buses full of migrants to Democrat cities, including New York City and Washington, D.C., in protest at his state being overwrought and President Joe Crow's willful ignorance of the border crises. Arizona's Republican Governor Doug Ducey followed suit. So far, more than 4,000 migrants have already arrived in the 5 boroughs in recent weeks, putting a strain on the already overstretched shelter system in the city. Excuse me, there's no strain. They're not living in the shelters I'm about to show you. That would be us. Back to the text. New York City Mayor Eric Adams issued a call to hotels step up to offer rooms to be used as temporary shelters. No timelines in place, family. He initially announced that 1,000 rooms would be used as accommodation until shelter space or alternative arrangements could be made. Adams is now expected to announce a deal for the city to rent an additional 5,000 hotel rooms citywide in the coming weeks. The cost of the deal has not been made public despite repeated inquiries. Critics say it will cost millions of taxpayers' money. A similar scheme to house the homeless in empty hotels during the pandemic cost $300 million in the city alone. In an opinion piece for Daily Mail, May Melman, a former legal advisor to President Trump on immigration and social issues, wrote, "The cost to the city is likely a bargain. When I was in the Trump administration, the price for one minor for one night was $775 in temporary influx housing. This housing, called tent cities during the Trump administration, but pop-up facilities during the Joe Crow administration, consist of massive air-conditioned tents for living, school, eating, and playtime and security around the entire thing. And it sometimes costs more than that. Sometimes as much as $1,200, I was told, in the White House." So in other words, they're trying to act like, well, this is a price break from what Trump was doing. But I already told you the numbers that were allowed in here monthly as compared to what Joe Crow has been doing. The Trinity Hotel is understood to be working with Mayor Adams, me speaking. This is why the Democrats have now become American Freedmen guillotine, right? And the repugnant clans have become our gas chamber. It used to be the reverse. 132,000 illegals into the country monthly under Joe Crow, as compared to Trump. I think I said 42,000 a month. What's that? Oh my God. I have to do the math on that to find the increase in those numbers. Moving on. The Trinity Hotel is understood to be working with Mayor Adams to convert part of the hotel up to 4 floors into an intake center. The city announced that they would be renting out 1,000 rooms like this one at the Row to house the migrants, but Adams is expected to announce plans for another 5,000 rooms to be rented for emergency accommodation in the coming weeks. I want to show y'all these pictures so we can memorialize them. I'm sick of reading it. But you got to see how they're going to be living. And I'm going to juxtapose this to how freedmen are living. They claim to have 50,000 homeless in New York City. I believe it's understated. And 58% of them are Black. And more than likely, it's American freedmen. But I can't find disaggregated data because they ain't done that yet in New York. We're all Black Americans over in that piece. But I've already shared with you how here in Southern California, we are 44 in a 2004-2014 Color of Wealth LA report. I know it's redundant, but repetition gets it done. It'll be eat on your mind. You'll be able to recite this without even reading your papers like me. But I share with you in that 2004 to 2014 Color of Wealth LA report how we were 44% degree to African immigrants here in the state of California, 56% degree, and yet our median income was $53,500 as compared to Black immigrants, African immigrants, $115,000. I shared with you that they were $60,000 liquid to U.S. Black $200, and that was back in 2004 to 2014. So when you're talking homeless rates, when you're talking 58% of 50,000 being Black, it's easy to deduce that that's predominantly us. And when you listen to the people that are featured in the videos I'm about to share, they don't sound like immigrants to me. Let me share my screen. Welcome to the live, my loves. I'll be right with y'all. Yes, I see some of my faves over here getting it in. Y'all continue to chat. I'm going to read it to my Twitter space because they're a little quiet today. So y'all get to, share with them. I'm going to share your comments with them. Hold on, guys. Let me show you. because I'm sick of it. Forgive the ads. You know how they do us. I'm going to make me small so you can see. And family, in Twitter space, when you get time, you can actually view the lives in archive, okay? I've got over 300 videos over in ScrewTube. I see you, World Views, Terry Lewis, Satra Delry 360, The Rock, and I can't see the rest of you, but I'll be over to show you love. Let me scroll this so you can see the luxury. Look at this. That's what they get to sleep in. Look at how modern that is, how beautiful, how clean. And then I'm going to show you a video. Look at their fragrance soaps by the pure manufacturers. Look at how they're living, y'all. This is better than most of our population nationwide. Don't have it going on like this. This is what Eric Adams is doing with the tax dollar in New York. Look at the gym. State of the art. Illegals. They're not even legally in this country. They got lots to smile about. Here they are, lined up. This is who they're giving position in favor over American freedmen in lieu of ending qualified immunity so that they can continue to execute our poor by state sanction. These are your Crayola white supremacists being given favor and position in our reparations and protections over us. Look at these charts. Migrant crossings at the southwest border. From 2019 to 2022, that green line y'all see right there. Look at it. The orange. This is deplorable. And this is who they voted into office. The coon, Eric Adams. These are your black, white supremacists. I don't even know if he's American freedmen, but trust and believe American freedmen get in on the act of ethno-genociding us and extincting us to as few in numbers as the Indians. They're in on it. They're being paid to do it. And we keep voting for this. Look at them. They get box lunches. Neatly wrapped. The coon Adams is out there passing out lunches to our replacements. Let me share the video of how our people are living, guys. Let me find it. Hold on, guys. Welcome to the live. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Let me see, is this it? Let me check this out, y'all.
Cynthia V is an unhoused New Yorker who says she was pushed out of the subway and onto the streets.
When I was in the 6th train, when we came around the loop at the bottom, the police came right in.
Okay, yeah, I want to show that one too, but there's another one. I want you to see the conditions of how our people are living in these homeless shelters, y'all. Stand by. Let me find it. I may have to take it off Bluetooth because I took y'all off Bluetooth in the Twitter space and it's still cutting up. I think it's because I'm sharing Twitter space with Twitter and something wonky is going on. So family, I'll put you close to the mic of my laptop so you can at least hear it. Stand by. Just bear with me, guys. I have to find this one video on ScrewTube. Give me a second. I thank you for your patience. I thank you for your love. I thank you for the support of the TRP broadcast. YouTube. I want you to see these deplorable conditions our people are living in. Where's the one I just had? And they lie and they come out and they pretend to give a damn and they pretend like they're doing something about it. They are not. Hold on, guys. Let me find it in my library, my history. Just a second, guys. I'm so sorry for the delay, but I'm wearing all the hats. I beg your patience. Conditions in New York City's shelters. This is 2 minutes, 25 seconds. Hold on. Oh, Lord have mercy. This is just unconscionable. Share screen. Let me show you how we living. Make sure y'all can see it, and I'm going to make sure you guys can hear it. Okay, guys? Stand by. Let me get the screen right.
Tonight from inside a city homeless shelter. Also, a man who says he was beaten for complaining about the conditions. Both could be seen as reasons why many homeless people won't set foot in shelters. CBS 2's Tracy Carrasco has more.
This homeless encampment on West 38th Street in Midtown Manhattan, significantly smaller from these photos earlier this month, but still overtaking this neighborhood, according to residents.
It just kept growing and growing, and then now you're seeing like 10 people there.
Chairs, suitcases, boxes, and even a woman using the restroom on the street. Some say they're here because it's their only option.
But they always keep telling you, well, we still looking for a place for you. We're going to try to put you in a 2-man apartment. They go on and on with this. I told you, I was out here since the winter.
Or because the streets are better than the alternative.
Sleep in the streets yet? I got family out there. You know what I mean? I don't like shelters because I got beat up too many times.
They all agree and say they're not rushing into shelters like this. Dirty toilets, broken tiles, garbage-strewn facilities documented at the New Dawn homeless shelter in Harlem. A hard sell for outreach workers trying to convince them to enter city shelters.
Bad plumbing, elevator service always breaks down, mold everywhere, roaches, mice.
On Tuesday, CBS 2's Marsha Kramer asked Mayor de Blasio about claims that shelter workers beat up a resident trying to expose the problem.
I wonder what you'd like to do about that.
I had not heard that case, and obviously if that's true, I'm very, very concerned. You're absolutely right. There are other shelters that are not acceptable.
According to Robert Miscali, former deputy commissioner of homeless services, last month the outreach program had a success rate of less than 1%.
There's no real remedy for homelessness, not at all.
Mayor de Blasio says he's working to create a new reality where the homeless will feel confident going into shelters, and that next month officials will re-release a report explaining the difficulties about getting people into shelters and make recommendations on how to do a better job. Reporting from Midtown Manhattan, Tracy Carrasco, CBS 2 News.
And Human Resources Commissioner Steve Banks told CBS 2 the agency has hired a new group to run the New Dawn shelter and that it will, quote, address conditions.
Okay, guys, I got one more I want to show you. I got one more to show you, and then we can move on. This one's called How Unhoused New Yorkers Feel About Mayor Adams' Homelessness. Hold on. Homelessness initiatives. Let's share that.
Protests. It is a housing justice issue.
Arrests.
Because you refuse to leave, you are now subject to arrest.
Shootings.
We begin this evening tracking a person described as a depraved serial killer.
Unhoused New Yorkers say it's open season in the city, and they are the prey.
It was a very upsetting and hurtful and traumatizing experience.
New policies implemented by Mayor Eric Adams this year look to help the city's 50,000 unhoused individuals, but some of them say these policies do more harm than good.
Mayor Adams' heavy-handed tactics are not the answer to homelessness.
There are rules.
In February, Mayor Adams introduced the Subway Safety Plan after a series of violent subway attacks linked to unhoused New Yorkers. The program removes unhoused people from the subway and aims to place them in temporary housing or connect them with mental health services. But from its inception, advocates have sounded the alarm.
If the city wants to actually see a reduction in the number of people who have to resort to sleeping on the subways, then they should really be focusing on where people can go as a safer alternative. And until we have those resources, we're instead going to see police forcing people from the subways to the streets.
Just weeks after the rollout, a gunman shot 5 unhoused men living in the streets of New York and Washington, D.C., killing 1 in each city. A tragedy some activists blame on the mayor and his rhetoric.
There's power in word, and when someone takes those words the wrong way, what happened is the end result. I put the deaths of these men squarely on the doorstep of City Hall.
The city's most recent count estimates that more than 1,200 people sleep in the subway on any given night. In the first month of the subway safety plan, the city says outreach teams engaged an average of 650 people in need per day. They say only 312 accepted services that entire month.
We want homes for the homeless.
Cynthia V. is an unhoused New Yorker who says she was pushed out of the subway and onto the streets.
When I was in the 6th train, when we came around the loop at the bottom, the police came right in. And I realized something had changed, that they were not going to let me ride up and down the train anymore.
V says a rainy night brought her here, under the scaffolding near Tompkins Square Park. Here she found not only shelter, but community.
People doing good.
And a safe space she and the other unhoused residents call Anarchy Row. Soon after, in late March, Mayor Adams announced a crackdown on makeshift encampments. And in early April, NBC News was there as the city dismantled Anarchy Row.
On the voucher, do not throw away my belongings.
For hours, police faced off with 6 of residents and a dozen activists.
Let people live! Let people live!
Ultimately, 7 were arrested, including Johnny Greenmont.
Police brutalized me and destroyed my property and other people's property.
5 others were displaced for the night.
Housing, affordable housing is the answer to this crisis.
In the first 6 weeks of the new encampment initiative, the city says outreach teams engaged 264 people, but only 39 of them accepted placement. The city estimates that nearly 1,100 New Yorkers sleep on the street. The 6 Anarchy Row residents who refused shelter placement represent many unhoused New Yorkers who say shelters are dangerous. In 2021, there were more than 300 felony arrests in city shelters, up from 260 in 2020. Still, Mayor Adams and the city say shelters and safe havens, which are facilities with fewer rules and more privacy, are part of the solution. Since announcing the subway safety plan, Adams has unveiled a new 80-bed safe haven and promised hundreds more beds in the next 2 years. He's also proposed a budget that would allocate a record $171 million in funding for homeless services. In a statement to NBC News, Mayor Adams said, quote, "Our teams are working professionally and diligently every day to make sure that every New Yorker living on the street knows they have a better option while ensuring that everyone who lives in or visits our city can enjoy the clean public spaces we all deserve." Some unhoused New Yorkers we spoke with say they agree with the mayor's stance.
I think it's a great idea, because nobody wants to be homeless. Nobody wants to live on the streets. It's a tragedy living out there in the subway. You don't know what's going to happen. It's a lot of people being assaulted every day. It's dangerous out there,
Welcome to my home, Tompkins Square Park.
The residents of Anarchy Row continue to erect their encampment, moving to different locations in the neighborhood each time. They say their community gives them hope for the future.
I was seeing homeless people today as in my travels and telling them just be strong, I could see an end. I could see some hope of a future where we don't have this problem. It's solvable.
Now,
Thanks for
family,
watching our YouTube.
if they really wanted to solve this problem, it would have been solved. Our poverty is profitable for them. Our poverty is profitable. Everybody gets their pockets lined. We have spent $1 bazillion out here to house our homeless on Skid Row. Mind you, many of these are, American freedmen, homeless vets. And you just got to see how I juxtaposed it against how Joe Crow's administration, Eric Adams, they are giving the royal treatment to your new Crayola white supremacists and oppressors. They're giving them every opportunity to have advantage over us. They are seeking to replace us with them. Now that we've been neutralized economically, they're coming for the vote. And I don't care how much the legal migrants disagree with illegal immigration. They want to take the country over. I've already shared with you that guy, Mr. Pasteur from the Freedmen Bank Forum. I shared that with you. And how he was like, we about to take over North Carolina. Thank you, Freedmen Bank Forum. We were 700 million. You got us closer to $1 billion with 100 million you gifted us. Vis-a-vis the Freedmen Bank Forum. When it takes the black bank here, I think it's Carver. It takes a black bank here and a black bank in DC to have to merge to get $1 billion in assets. And who are they going to be lending to? Not American freedmen. Thank you, love my folks. He confirmed my suspicion. Eric Adams is a black immigrant. And this is what's going to happen to us if we don't weaponize this vote and socialize this suffering. We will just have Crayola white supremacy and be fifth class in the country our ancestors built with their lives. Guys in the space, did you want to weigh in? Because I'm going to stop today's broadcast with that because I've got to read my co-host in the chat over at ScrewTube. I've got to read their comments and respond. And I've got to go live with day 2 of my Twitter space recording that my family on ScrewTube and in Racebook were not privileged to because ScrewTube shut me down for a month. So I've got all that to do and fix my daughter's dinner while that recording plays. So if you guys want to bless the mic, raise your hand. We're here. We got you. I'm just going to do some reading right now that you won't hear them speak. Uh-oh. I'll try to put this somewhere. If y'all can, thank you, Professor Smiles. I was going to say, hopefully you can hear me without my Bluetooth speaker. It sounds very faint to me on my laptop, but the broadcast must go on. This is my fight, y'all, to weaponize this vote. So we'll never get reparations this way, y'all. We get further and further. They kick the can further and further away as they give our reparations and protections to everyone but freedmen. If we don't bring these Democrats to their knees, if we don't fire these millionaires that are there to extinct us, we are doomed. And we will never get reparations. Not like this. I see you, Miss Powell. Welcome, y'all. Let's go up. I'm only going to read the pertinent comments, family, in the namesake of time, because I'm going to end this one to bring the other recording up of day 2 of my Twitter space. This is my fight to weaponize the vote and discourage us specifically from staying home. Because as you see, this is who you will give a license to determine the fate of our line if you don't show up every election cycle henceforth and bring these Democrats to their knees with closed border candidates and reparations candidates party be damned. I don't give a damn what else they own. Because when the Democrats have a trifecta, we sink deeper into the bottom of this Titanic as the anchor of this country's capitalism. We are in the fight of our lives to prevent from becoming the permanent bottom caste in the country our ancestors built with their lives. Let that sink in. I see you, The Rock. the strategy, Rock says, the strategy is to let this thing bleed red for a while until the Democrats come begging to meet our demands. Well, they will never meet them as long as we're willing to give away our votes free without making demands. I'm not saying don't demand tangibles. I'm telling you, under the current condition, you've conditioned the Democrats for 60 years that they don't have to give you tangibles, and you're going to continue to deliver them the vote. So why, if I've been conditioned for years to believe my loyal lapdogs are going to deliver me and I never have to do anything for them, why would that be any different? And so it's reckless to suggest that we stay home. No tangibles, no vote. You ain't got nothing coming. You can't tell that by now. Well, I'm going to always be over here making the case for why you need to go into this election cycle and everyone here after with your eyes wide open. Okay? Hi, Carolyn Harvey. I see you, family. Hey, sis, switch to YouTube. Like seeing who's talking. Thanks for making this available on, I call it ScrewTube. Thank you, Carolyn, for being over here. Yay. Yes, you guys, you can always go back, take your notepads and your pens, and come and see my face over here. This old, young face of mine. I ain't claiming old. I like to age I like to get older without aging. I love to keep it fly and young and schmexy. That's what I do. I love it. Ivy Dreams, I missed you too, family. I missed you. Oh, Professor Smiles wants to bless the mic before we get to the rest of your comments. Go ahead, Professor. I'm going to mute.
Thank you, Sister Reparations. Peace and love to everybody in the room. DJ, man, good to see you up in here. And Cherie, I see you down there. Good to see you up in here too. I just want to say, y'all, we've been giving away too much for too long now. Please, now it comes a time that we don't need to. I know in some of the spaces they've been saying don't go to the polls. But I think that right there is not what we need to do. We do need to go to the poll. We just need to be careful with the votes. Okay, we just need to be careful with how we just go to the polls and vote Democrat. That's been the historical significance for Black people. Is we just go and we vote blue. No, we don't need to do that anymore. We need to now say, hey, I'm voting for people that's going to be for Border Patrol, immigration reform, somebody that's going to talk about reparations, and somebody that's going to talk about issues that we are genuinely concerned about, police reform. We need to deal with those type of people. And if it's not a Democrat, then hey, the hell with the Democrats. We just need to deal with people that's going to be about policies that are concerning to us. I have learned now, I'm not going to give my vote away so easy to these Democrats. Joe Crow lied to us on so many things now, and I'm sick of looking at this dude up in office. I land my plane there.
Thank you so much for sharing, Professor. I'd like to repeat, family, the Democrats will lie to you about tangibles, and the Republicans don't owe you. Right now, this Freedmen voter strategy is about closing the borders and reparations candidates party be damned. Now, by and large, they may appear to be Republican, which means we need y'all in the South to really turn out. I mean, I'm going to do what I got to do out here on the West Coast, but it really ain't going to matter because we're a Democrat type of state. It's going to matter to me, though, to be a part of the revolution. I'm invoking you guys to become a party, too. So they going to both lie, and the Republicans don't owe you, so you ain't got nothing coming. Please believe that we must neutralize our most imminent threat, which is what? All together now, family. Immigration, immigration, immigration. We've got to vote in our best interest so our men can become more gainfully employed if it's not too late. You see, with a Trump in office, ICE is coming to get all these folks that's living off our dime. They're not going to be here for long. And that's why they're coming for Trump. You see, this is what you have to understand, family. When these liberal Democrats love it, you should hate it. Do you understand what I'm telling you? I.e. Barack Obama. When these liberals stormed Iowa, when those votes came through Iowa, that was a hint and a half for our ass that he was hand selected to do their bidding. He was not going to do anything for American freedmen. And when the Democrats, these fake ass liberals, when they hate the thing like they do Trump, that's your lesser of two evils. Y'all get how that works? If you see the liberals and the Democrats love it, run in the opposite direction. Vote in the opposite direction. If they despise it, that's your person. That's your candidate. They despise Marcel Dixon, vote for him, reparations candidate. They despise Donald Trump. Okay, when they hate it, that's your cue. That's real easy. That's real easy. I'm giving you easy stuff. This ain't rocket science. All you got to do is a Google search every branch of government and figure out who opposes an influx of immigrants, who is about closing the borders, who's talking America first. Look at their voting records to see how they're voting on some of this stuff. We got a small window and we are out of time. DJ, your mic is hot. You want to speak or you want to mute? What you doing? Okay, you mute.
My bad.
Yes, please. I get too much feedback. My screw tube is watching. So if you want to speak, raise your hand. I'm keeping an eye on both. Did you want to speak, DJ?
I'm over on screw too with you too, and with him. I'm Mr. Multitask. You know what's up, y'all?
Thank you for being here. And thank you for helping the message go viral. Okay, so back to my co-host in the chat. You guys got to hear some of these rich things they're sharing. Ivy Dreams, I see you, family. I'm just reading the pertinent stuff because I got to show the rest of the audience and all these other spaces what we did in Twitter space on day 2 of last week. Hi, Terry Lewis. Buenos dias and lovely Tuesday. My hostess with the mostest. Hey, hey, hey. Thank you. I see you, Lucky Anonymous. I'm glad you were back, Miss Angela. Thank you so much for the love, family. I missed you guys as well. Just know the screw tube does not want this sister speaking. We are being pushed out. Correct, Ivy Dreams. Yes, yes, yes. I see you, GK. Good evening. We need, okay, here comes Ivy again dropping facts. We need to vote in our own interest, support closed border candidates. You better believe it, Ivy. She goes on to say, I'm in California. I don't support the California Democrats. Build the wall, she goes on to say. Amen and amen. We got the Always Resist Arrest Initiative. I see you, fam. Salutations. He or she, I'm not sure, call ICE multiple times daily to report all potential illegal aliens. That's another thing you could do. And thank you for that, Always Resist, family. Another thing you must do is defect from the Democratic Party. I'm an independent. Get your independence on wherever you are. That's the part 2 to my Freedmen. Well, really the part 1. The part 1 is defect from the Democratic Party immediately, if not sooner. Go independent. And then part 2 is to vote closed border and reparations candidates only. Party be damned. How easy is that? And if you can't find that where you are, then give the vote to a third party candidate. But on no uncertain terms should you stay home because you ain't gonna vote because you ain't got no tangibles. I already told you ain't got nothing coming. Okay. So let's go back and read. So I like the Always Resist Arrest Initiative. There's another action item we can do. Call ICE multiple times daily to report all potential illegal aliens. Now, tomorrow I'm going to share with you about how the Border Patrol is immigrant And they're allowing the people into the country. I'm going to show you the footage. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. We'll be here another 5 hours, and y'all know I can't do that. I don't have that kind of stamina, and I got too much to do. Always Resist says, he goes on to say, cops refuse to call ICE on illegal aliens while mass incarcerating U.S. citizens. Come through. Come through. Always Resist arrest. He goes on to say, Democrats give illegal aliens immunity while mass incarcerating U.S. citizens. He's dropping knowledge over here. Truth to power. Call your police departments and ask why they refuse to call ICE on illegal aliens. Always Resist arrest. Some things are a waste of time. We already know. We already know. Everybody's complicit. Okay, and he goes on to say, but those same cops don't hesitate to mass incarcerate U.S. freedmen. Exactly. This is a way they get free labor, free slave labor in the private prison industrial complex. Ivy says we are being replaced and erased. Miss Powell from the DMV goes on to say, welcome, Miss Powell. We're being replaced while having our citizenship protection stripped at the same time. Lord, we must wake up and approach this fight very differently. Honey, you ain't said nothing but a word right there. Always Resist has something to say. Us as U.S. freedmen should have stood against immigration to the U.S. years ago. Well, Dr. Claude Anderson tried to sound the alarm. He's still trying to sound the alarm. But we're politically lazy and uneducated, but we're working feverishly as a part of the new black media to wake us up, right? Ivy goes on to say, wow, you come here illegally and get to stay in a 4-star hotel. And you saw the conditions of the homeless shelter. The Rock says they've got them ninjas staying in a $700 a night hotel and eating $500 steaks. Baby boo. But 86% of our electorate voted this in. Hi, Satra. I see you, family. Thank you for joining the live. I see you, Worldviews. Thank you for joining the live. Satra goes on to say, this mayor said he is hip-hop. He is building a hip-hop museum. Honey, don't you get ahead of my broadcast. Don't you get ahead of my broadcast. That I was going to share with the viewers tomorrow. This Mickey Vicky Eric Adams, while putting up the illegals in luxury hotels and doing nothing for our homeless problem, has just given hip-hop $5 million. Go ahead, DJ, bless the mic.
Yeah, how's Eric Adams doing anything for anybody as far as hip-hop when Ice Cube, LL Cool J, and KRS already have the Temple of Hip-Hop, and they're also building the Museum of Hip-Hop somewhere in the Bronx. I forgot where it's at. So what the heck does he have to do with that? Nothing, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So that don't even make any sense when that's already been in place. It's been in the works for years.
Well, he's got $5.5 million for Universal Hip Hop. Let me, since y'all want to go there.
Yeah, I think your mic's muted, sis, I think.
Oh, thank you. Lord have mercy. Since y'all want to go there, let's talk about it. He wants Mayor Adams Commissioner Cumbo announces $5.5 million for Universal Hip Hop Museum and new capital funding for Bronx cultural institutions. Okay, today's investment part of $127 million in capital funding from Mayor Adams for over 70 cultural groups across New York City. Let me read it. So they want to give $127 million while our people are being driven out of the city and out of the state and into homelessness, unemployment, and underemployment. $127 million in capital funding from Mayor Adams for over 70 cultural groups across New York City. We got 70 groups doing hip hop in New York now. New York City Mayor Eric Adams and New York City Department of Cultural Affairs DCLA Commissioner Lori Cumbo today announced a total of $5.5 million $2 million of which was contributed by Mayor Adams in new capital funding for the Universal Hip Hop Museum to fit out its future 52,000 square foot home at the Bronx Point development at Mill Pond Park. The museum's new facility will include several gallery spaces, a black box theater, interactive exhibits, and administrative offices. As part of DCLA's ongoing 5-borough tour to highlight the city's cultural investments, Mayor Adams also announced new capital funding for Bronx-based cultural organizations, including the Bronx Museum of the Arts, the New York Botanical Garden, the Point Community Development Corporation, Pregon's Puerto Rican Traveling Theater, Wave Hill, and the Bronx Zoo. So whether you are in Co-op City or Canarsie, New Yorkers deserve the opportunity to learn about some of the unique cultures in their backgrounds, said Mayor Adams. Hip-hop tells the story of this city and the Bronx so vividly. It tells the life amid poverty and crime, of turning pain into purpose, of making it. That's why I'm proud to announce our administration's commitment of $2 million in new capital funding for the Universal Hip Hop Museum, alongside $3.5 million from the local elected officials. The newer generation may not know about the history of hip hop in the Bronx. However, when we support our cultural groups, we allow the people of this city to connect and find these local jewels that serve as passports to historic destinations. So I can close that one out. I'm done reading that garbage. So this is what they choose to do with $127 million. That's $5.5 million that has been earmarked to Satra Del Rey 360's point. I just shared with you the conditions of 58% of the homeless population and how they're living between the streets, the subways they're now being pushed out of, and the homeless shelters that are so diabolical, they're worse than a third world country. While he's giving all this luxury to the illegal immigrants. Terry Lewis says, that's insane. Queen Yasmin, welcome to the live, says, bump a homeless shelter. We living on the streets. Absolutely. Reparations is the remedy, says the Queen. Yeah, but we got nothing coming if we continue to vote blue no matter who, without bringing the Democrats to their knees by voting to close these borders for several election cycles. It's not no one and done with midterms. We're going to have to do this till times get better for American freedmen. So love my folks affirm that Mayor Adams is West Indian. I told y'all these are our Crayola white oppressors, white supremacists that are in here to give us symbolism. Go ahead, DJ, bless the mic.
Yeah, again, so, Mayor Eric Adams is just pretty much taking credit for what other folks did, and it has been doing for years. KRS-One, he's, come over here to the Twitter or whatever and follow the Temple of Hip Hop. You can follow him on YouTube as well. So he speaks on all of this stuff and how the history, became what it was. And, they sat in the room, him, Bambaataa, a lot of Just Ice, a lot of the great hip hop pioneers, icons, Chuck D, Public Enemy, Flavor Flav, so on. They all sat in the room and was discussing, we don't do something now as far as try to control and gatekeep our own culture. The white folks is obviously going to take it over. And he was really speaking about how we could use hip hop to support our people. We could send our folks to school off the record sales. We could build businesses to support black businesses off the records. Build schools and all that stuff. They was talking about that 30 years ago. So the Temple of Hip Hop, that's a thing. And as far as the museum, that's always been a thing. Eric Adams ain't got nothing to do with it, but I guess we should appreciate that he's advocating for funding for it. But that's just symbolism. Whatever. What a reparations at.
Exactly. And now that's a fight in New York. Our New York comrades are fighting Pan-Africanists just to put up the gate to get New Yorkers, American freedmen that are remaining The reparations, they are long overdue. But when you allow Pan-Africanists at your reparations table, everybody gets the repair but you. Back to my comments and my co-host over here. Love My Folks says the homeless commissioner is Hispanic. Going forward, if you want to ensure services are rendered to citizens, you will need to hold those offices. We need to strategically seek infrastructure jobs. You're absolutely correct. Love My Folks. You're absolutely correct. I mean, we've got to run for office at every branch of government. But that's a challenge when you're dealing with folks who aren't even really politically astute. And who's got the time? And who can afford to be fired for running? Marcel lost his teacher's contract. He is without work. Speaking of which, bless the brother. Bless his Cash App. $ the son of the Sea Islands, plural. The son of, he's living off his retirement to keep his campaign going. He can't use campaign funds to live on. So he's our Martin. That's who we got right now, and we need to bless that brother. Also, his campaign, I think he needs to run till times get better for Freedmen. He at least keeps reparations front and center. They want to ignore it, but he at least is doing that with his voice. That's pretty much what we're paying for right now when we put it on recurring. So I'm not telling you to do anything I haven't done. I intend to give to the brother monthly in both his campaign, and I'm going to bless his Cash App because it's on us to take care of our reparationist candidates. But that's why I love my folks. I've got my Freedmen voter strategy. There's lots of things that we love to do. You know, we'd love to have folks running for office and actually being able to win. But when you've been neutralized economically, that's not really an option for you. Furthermore, you don't know politics by and large, even if you have an interest to run. And if we've been neutralized economically, I don't know how we're going to get all these people to move back south. And what we going to have? Just a bunch of people moving back south and still no power? No, thank you. So there's a lot of little things we can do on the way to reparations. And I'm telling you right now, you can weaponize your vote and socialize your suffering. And bring these Democrats to their knees and let them know you did it by the power of your vote. Which that power is leaking spiritual substance daily. We are out of time. Ms. Powell goes on to say, again, to position Freedmen stronger in this immigration fight, we must bring forth litigation against the states and the federal government for failure to ensure our protections under the 13th and 14th Amendments. You're absolutely correct. But these are the things that we can do sooner than the reparations will come. I'll read that to you again. So my Twitter space can hear it. Ms. Powell is suggesting that to position Freedmen stronger in this immigration fight, we must bring forth litigation against the states and the federal government for failure to ensure our protections under the 13th and 14th Amendments. It's the only way. World Views agrees. You're exactly right. Hi, Adrian. I see you, fam. Hey, sis, how are you? Hi, Adrian. Okay, love my folks. Correct, Angela. Both paper citizens, aka legals and illegals, work together. They are here to feed off our resources, and they are here to take it over. Joe Crow already told y'all that the white race is going to be outnumbered, and he's making sure he puts in Crayola white supremacists to make sure we never get our justice claim. And that's who 86% of our electorate voted for. Oh, I'm a she. I'm sorry, love my folks. Oh my gosh. Why didn't I know that? Child, it's been so long. Forgive it. Charge it to my head, not my heart. Worldview says, I'm going to replay this live. Thank you so much. She goes, she or he. I think it's a she. Y'all, I don't know with these fancy names because I miss so much. Oh, yes. It will be archived, family. If you missed the top of the hour, It's over in ScrewTube. It's over in Twitter. It's over in Facebook in memorial. Okay. Yes. So worldviews, it's our fight together and united. Oh, yeah. That's the only way, family. We've got to prioritize American freedmen over everything. U.S. freedmen, however you identify. Freedmen is in the Constitution, but we got BADOCs, ADOCs, ADOS. We got B1, FBA. It don't matter. We all bleed chattel slavery. Okay, but your justice claim is tied to freedmen. That's in the Constitution. Is this pre-recorded? No, we're live right now, Satra. Yes, DJ, thank you for being over here to encourage the gang to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And it gives you guys his love. You heard him bless the mic in Twitter space. Okay, I'm moving down because I got to get my other one going. Okay. Love my folks. Miss Love my folks. Jim Crow Joe didn't lie to us. Y'all heard what you wanted to hear. The gift is our group can learn from this blunder. Absolutely, love my folks. You're absolutely correct. We will learn from this blunder, and we're learning from this blunder. And I'm grateful that you guys tune in to learn and to build your resolve around these current events I share, these current events that I weaponize to get us to move as a block. And if each of y'all share, then we can teach more people, right? Satra Delray 360, protest vote, report illegals to ICE, put companies on blast, executive e-verify. Well, Ms. Powell, this is another thing we need to sue the federal government for not enforcing e-verify. That's a part of the lawsuit. I think we need to do that for sure. The Rock. Angela, I agree with you. Don't create an argument where there is none. This is my first time voting, and I will vote straight Republican and vote for Trump as a protest vote to bring the Dems down. Well, God bless you, The Rock. I don't know that I was being argumentative. I'm just trying to make my case, fam. So forgive me if I was being argumentative. I don't know how I was doing that. I'm actually rather calm. If you listen to my other ScrewTube videos in my humble beginnings back in November 2019, honey, folks that's been rocking with me in this movement for a while could tell you I was off the hook, off the charts, and off the chain. And they kept saying, sis, you're going to have an aneurysm. You're going to have a heart attack. Don't be doing it now. Calm down. I'm very calm right now. DJ knows. Hold on. Go ahead. Bless the mic, DJ.
Hey, y'all, sister got 300 videos over here on the ScrewTube, man. Y'all be here for all night watching these videos. Y'all better catch up. You know what I mean?
Well, make sure you turn your volume down.
I second that, DJ.
And for sure, Professor. And look, and that's 2 hours to 10 hours of video. 300 videos. You gotta do the math, damn it. All reparations, man. So, cut the check, damn it.
Cut the check. What'd you say, Professor Smiles?
Oh yes, I'm watching the videos too while I'm listening to you. So I'm trying to do both things at the same time, y'all. I'm telling you, you need to go over to ScrewTube and check it out. Share it out here on these spaces. Share it out here in Facebook land or whatever you want to call it. I think they got a new name for it now, Meta Face or something. But anyway, share it everywhere, y'all. We just got to get this information out for our people, man. This our lives are dependent on this right here. What Sister Reparations is talking about now, our lives very much depend on this. I'm telling you.
Real talk. Real talk, fam. Hey, ain't no lies detected. We are out of time. Look at my Gucci. It's about that time. You understand? Come on now, hip hop heads from back in the gap. Okay, so thank y'all for blessing the mic. Okay, let's keep going because they keep commenting over here. Okay. Closed border candidates only and reparations candidates. Don't forget, if you in South Carolina District 6, vote for Congressman Marcel Dixon. I know he's controversial, but hell, so am I. I mean, really. I know he's off the charts and off the chain. He's my brother from another mother. What can I say? I love him. I love his drama, but I'm a drama queen. So you see, I can appreciate that in Marcel. I love it. Give him hell. That's what I do. So Satra goes on to say, white hippie moved to Vermont and lived in tents until employed and housed. Then they voted in their candidates. Ooh, sis, that's heavyweight right there. Worldviews say they sure did. Love My Folks says, except for DeSantis, he is a dangerous anti-Black American. They said the same thing about Trump. And I don't see nobody more dangerous than Joe Crow. I don't care what y'all say about Trump being the boogeyman. I just read y'all 42,000 per month to Joe Crow's 132,000 per month. Okay? So the thing is, prayerfully Trump will run again. That's my hope and my prayer, because he get my vote. He's going to get my vote. Tell y'all that right now. Y'all can't make him out to be more of a boogeyman. Y'all can't make an overt racist in office of 4 years with no record against American Freedmen. Ain't nobody shared nothing with me yet that makes sense. Everybody was crying about Trump, right? I wasn't crying. I just was like, oh, wow. I cry when the Democrats have a trifecta. That's when I'm upset. But nobody can show me records against American Freedmen that even come close. It ain't even on the block. It ain't even in the next world as compared to Joe Crow and Kabami with 3 Ks, records several New York City blocks long against American Freedmen. Now, I've challenged folks who want to call me crazy for wanting to vote closed border reparations candidates only. They have yet to show me anything. So, yeah, they can say this about DeSantis. They said it about Trump. But I'm going to tell you who's really anti-Black. American Freedmen, descendant of U.S. chattel slavery. That Joe Crow that 86% of our electorate put into the office, into the White House. Strom Thurmond's protege. Okay, you look at the other videos. I'm not got time to go into that. This is the author of the 94 crime bill. And folks act like they want to forget how he railed in on us, calling us super predators before Crooked Hillary with 3 Ks called us that on the Senate floor. Folks want to act like he's reformed. Child, please. Sandra says we have to protect. Let's see. We have to protest vote. Make Dems lose White House and gridlock Congress. Oh, yes, we do, Sandra. And get your popcorn and sip your tea. Because when these immigrants, he starts sending ice on them to get them about this piece, it's going to be a sight to behold. But that's exactly what Trump is coming to do. And that's why they're doing these Mar-a-Lago raids. They are grasping at straws, family, trying to get this man put in jail. I told y'all, when the liberal Democrats hate him, that's who you're supposed to vote for. That's a hit and a half for your ass, okay? Love My Folks says, and please thumbs tap in with your local city council. I'm not a YouTuber, but on my profile is a checklist to screen if your city is under invasion. I already read it to them, fam. I told them all the cities and the states where the immigration numbers are through the roof. So just rewind to the top and you can find out if your state is in there. My state's in there. I think my state was number 1 on the list. And the homelessness is off the charts down here. Worldview says exactly. Shake these demo rats out. All right. We need to create a Patreon account. Then attached Discord to the Patreon account so we can have private meetings. Sasha Del Rey 360. I would love for you to show me how. I just made it to 1,000, all the puckery going on over here, but I'm happy to learn another way. So please reach out to me at the repperspect@gmail.com. DJ, I hope you're listening. She's saying to create my Patreon, then attach my Discord to the Patreon so that we can have private meetings. Well, Satra, given that I've got the lowest numbers in terms of everyone in the new Black media, it's hard not to be over here out loud because I'm trying to have my message go viral. And being in spaces like Patreon without large enough numbers, I believe my message would get lost over there, lost in the sauce. So you have to knock around some ideas, maybe to get it growing through the StreamYard at the same time that I'm doing the other outlets that I'm on. I don't know how that works. I'm not technical. I'm just here to weaponize the vote, socializing the suffering, and making the case for reparations. Lucky Anonymous says, I became an independent in January. We've all got to become independent. That's going to wake these Democrats up, y'all. When y'all start defecting from the Democratic Party, they going to know something's on the horizon. And you can't stay home because you want credit for bringing them to their knees. Serve them all their walking papers. DJ PD's News and Music. When Trump was in office, he went in hard on them illegal immigrants. He went into the paint. Yes. And that's who we need, right? And that's why the liberals are trying to get him arrested so he can't be a real contender. I don't want DeSantis. I want Trump. Love My Folks says, you can also register non-party partisan in some municipalities. That's great to know. Thank you, Love My Folks. In California, the police in many counties don't have contracts with ICE. Your best bet is to contact ICE or Department of Homeland Security directly. Well, under a Joe Crow administration, are they even working as effectively as they were under Trump? That would be my question. Tomorrow, I'm going to show you how they're just leaving the borders open, allowing them to come in. ICE is down there. They're the immigrants letting the illegals in. Worldviews, check those out. The last names of police at those police stations. Because some of them, too, supporters of Democrats. Of course they are. Of course they are. Joe Crow has asked Congress for $37 billion more to militarize the race soldiers to execute and gentrify us about the communities. So yeah, they support the Democrats. Worldview says, heck, we can start researching some of the police political views as well. Well, that's absolutely true. They're that would be a great idea. You got to research all of it wherever you are in your respective city and state and get active. Screw symbolism, cut the damn check, says DJ PD News and Music. That's all the Joe Crow has been doing. What we get? 30 million in crack pipes, 32 million in crack pipes. That isn't really for American freedmen. That's for the opioid crisis and their people so they can stop ODing. That ain't really about us. Crack, most of those folks are in jail or dead. Okay. What else? Juneteenth holiday that we were already celebrating. Now whites and immigrants get a paid holiday time off for a Holocaust that's never ending and we're still enduring. Hip hop festival in August. Who gives a damn? These lyrics are trash. And helping to, make it harder for us to get off the bottom. The lyrics are very horrific. They promote black-on-black crimes, murders, rape, drugs, prison culture. Those are the agendas, that are being pushed currently. Worldview says, my tithes are going to Marcel. Amen to that. Amen to that. Especially if your church ain't in this fight. Why are we tithing to them if they're not in this fight? I don't hear them speaking up for reparations and an end to qualified immunity. Do y'all see them take it to the streets for those issues? I don't. Because they're paid not to. Worldviews goes on to say, and we'll go to other candidates like Marcel. That's for our reparations. Amen to that, sister. Or brother, I don't know. When y'all got these crazy names, these beautiful names, they're not crazy. I just don't know if you're male or female. I'm sorry. Okay, so Morris Graves says, I am on Twitter and listening to the sister on the tube, aka Professor Smile. Hi, Professor. Thank you.
That's me.
Thank you for doing double duty. I love it. Thank you.
Hey, Professor, ain't it dope like this, yo? Hey, everybody go over to the YouTube and mute your mic on the YouTube and listen on the Twitter space. It's like the visual and the audio. It's awesome.
And then you get to weigh in live, right? This is rich. I'm glad y'all know how to make it happen. Lord knows I couldn't instruct you on how to do all that. But thankfully, y'all figured it out. I say Trump DeSantis 24. Okay. Now don't sound bad to me. Exactly, says Worldviews. Professor Smiles. Everyone watch the videos and share them. Thank you. Love My Folks says, I supported Trump. If his platform is similar, he'd get my vote. But DeSantis is like Jim Crow. Well, DeSantis is like Joe Crow. But, who is it? You see, this is not about a popularity contest. This is about closing the borders. This is about closing the borders. It's a protest vote. So even if you have to hold your nose, get to the polls and vote for closed border candidates and reparations candidates only. If our ancestors had the backbone and the cojones to do it for civil rights, what is our problem? And they didn't even have social media, okay? So we must do what we must do because our children are relying on us to have a backbone, okay? Lord have mercy. I'm more worried about Jim Crow Joe than Trump. Me too, fam. And they're more worried about DeSantis than they are Joe Crow? I think not. DJ PD goes on to say, if Trump runs, he's getting my vote. Mine too. I hope he runs. Also in birthright citizenship and take citizenship from anchor babies. The Rock. Woo-wee. Let me write that down. That needs to be in the broadcast. I see your hand. I'm coming to you. Let me get this note. Y'all help me build out my broadcasts. If there's something I'm missing that y'all want me to talk about, please Gmail me at therepperspect@gmail.com. Therepperspect@gmail. And it's scrolling in the bar below. Okay, let me write that down, y'all. I got to bring y'all that. Lord, I got so many things to bring y'all. Will we ever get to the end? Nope. Okay, in birthright citizenship. Hold on, guys. I'm typing. I told y'all I wear all the hats. Take citizenship from anchor babies. You heard me read in that prior article, this is how they're growing to critical mass. This is how they're outpacing us, remember? That's part of the plan, family. Take citizenship from anchor babies. By design. Okay. Okay, let me go over here and get my hand over in Twitter space. We got to share, y'all. We got to share with Professor Smiles. Bless the mic.
Thank you again, Sister Reparations, for letting me have the floor. Y'all, I watched a good movie last night through Tubi. That's one of the movie apps, the more popular movie apps that's out here now.
You can get all the free movies you want, but I digress on that. I watched this movie about Reverend Vernon Johns. And if you don't know who he is, he was the guy that actually set the path for Martin Luther King Jr. at the Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama. Watch that movie because he was a man on fire. And he told the people in that church that y'all were cowards. The black deacons. He said, you guys are cowards because you're watching and you're standing by letting these folks do whatever they want to do when you need to get into the fight to stop white supremacy, to stop people just abusing you. And that's what we have to do, y'all. We have to get into the good fight, as Reverend Vernon Johns would say. And that's what I'm telling you all. We got to get into the good fight. This is a good fight. Sister Reparations is telling us that we have to get in for several election cycles. This is our fight because nobody is coming to save us. You can't sit on the sidelines and just say, well, I won't go and vote. I just won't do anything. You got to do something. And that's what Reverend Vernon Johns said in that movie. You people are just sitting around and you're being cowards and you're not trying to do anything. I'm telling you, that's not going to work.
It ain't working.
You got to get out here and do something. You got to get out here and get people involved. You got to get out here and educate everybody. That's really what the church is supposed to be doing. But see, our churches are not even doing that anymore because they've been bought and paid. Unfortunately, our black leaders in the Congressional Black Caucus have been paid off. They're supposed to be representing us, but they're not. So for all of us that's out here, that's listening to Sister Angela, and the ones that's on the grassroots, that's trying to bring it all together, we can only depend on each other to get this done. And so that's all I want to say. I just land my plane there, y'all. We got to get out there and for several election cycles to make this thing happen.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Smiles, for blessing the mic as always. If you would please type in the ScrewTube chat the name of the place that we can watch unlimited amount of movies for free and the title of that film or documentary you watched. I would love that for my subbies over here to be able to check that out. Thank you for sharing. You're absolutely correct. No lies detected. So Terry Lewis says, I'm not voting for Trump. I don't care what happens, y'all. If he runs, I'm going with Biden. Wow. Well, you know what? Sadly, there's far too many like you, Terry Lewis. I don't know what to tell you. I pray that you have a come to Black Jesus moment over here with the reparationist perspective and you change your mind after, being over here. I know I won't be able to win them all, but I can't just sit up here on the firing squad on the front line of the guillotine and not sound the alarm. So I know I can't transform everyone, but I'm going to fight this fight till my last breath because this has got to stop. This has got to stop. This voting blue no matter who, and I'm not voting Trump. And listen, this is for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear to partake of the fruit of the Spirit. I'm not for everybody, and my strategy ain't for everybody. But I pray it's big enough to help close border and reparations candidates to prevail. That's what I'm prayerful for, and I'm going to show up. I'm not going to allow those who are going to continue this this vote blue no matter who to our people's peril. I'm going to be talking against that every day that I can. At least I'm going to do my best to be here Monday through Friday, okay? Sasha Delry 360 goes on to say, no, have a short show on ScrewTube Space, Graham, etc. then continue that show on Patreon for a more in-depth meeting. Discord allowed, local to connect. You will get paid members on Patreon. Thank you, Satra. I'm going to explore that. Thank you. Bye-bye. Well, hell, I'm here. Since pastors, reverends are already paid to turn away from us, then let's tie to Marcel. Woohoo! MarcelForCongress.com. And to bless his livelihood, $, this is a cash app, $, the son of, no, $, son of the sea, S-E-A, islands with an S on the end. $, son of the sea islands. We need him alive if he's going to continue to be in this fight. Yes, time to him. Okay. Welcome, bye-bye, says Terry Lewis. Okay. At Satra, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo are sister directly. Those other platforms take way too much money out. Well, thank you for that, DJ. Yes, I've got Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo. I think the Venmo is set up over in Twitter, but it's all scrolling on the bottom bar. Thank you, DJ Segwan. But I do like Satra's idea. We'll knock it around. Bye-bye says, hey, Terry. No, honey, it's not $TRPTV1. It's just $TRPTV. Okay, that's the Cash App. Thank you. Joe Crow with 3 Ks. You better know it. Thumbs down. Lucky Anonymous, I will do what is necessary to help my people. Thank you, Lucky. Well, I'm telling you what's going to help our people is to close these borders. Love my folks, says this. Visit Cali and you'll understand the closed border strategy more. Miss Love my folks, I'm trying to sound the alarm so that the South won't go the way of California, down from 17 to 3%, while their numbers are approaching, what, 55% by now? It's out of control. But all we can do is our best, sis. Okay, so this is my last comment before I shut this down and bring up day 2. DJ PD says the Biden shields can vote, shame me all they want, but I'm not giving up my vote to Joe Crow. Woo, DJ PD News and Music. I think we're winning on that message. I think we're winning. Well, family, this has been rich. It has been real. I just love y'all so much. I know I ain't met but a couple of y'all. Miss Powell. Of all the people, and I've met some other, Satra, Joey 360. Haven't we met? Don't our kids run track out here in Cali? Or is that my other baby? My other friend. Okay. I can't. It's hard for me to remember the stage names here in the Screw Tube as compared to who I've met. But I've only really met 2 of y'all. But y'all feel like my long-lost relatives. Y'all feel so much more like my tribe than even the people I know. Y'all feel more like my brothers and sisters in this fight. And I ain't laid an eye on you. I know you through these spaces, and I'm just grateful to God for each and every one of you. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, turning on your notifications. Thank you for overstanding and being open to the Freedmen voter strategy. I just can't thank y'all enough. Really, I can't. Oh, Satra's still talking. No, have a short show on YouTube. Okay, we read that part. Oops, TRP TV. Yeah, let's end on that note. $, if you want to bless the broadcast. It helps me to edutain the masses while making the case for reparations and weaponizing the vote and socializing our suffering. With that being said, family, I'm going to shut this one down. I'm going to pray us out and shut this one down and bring up day 2 of the Twitter space for all of you late owls, you night owls. Now, if I'm not as active in the chat when I close this one down, it's because I got to cook dinner for my daughter, who was slow to clean the kitchen. So if her hunger pains are kicking her butt, she should have cleaned it this morning. Okay? That's how that goes. But I'm going to shut this one down and bring the other one up. We are waking up angry. Baby, we track moms. That's Ivy Dreams. Hi, Ivy. Yes, that's the only other YouTube subby in the fight as a comrade that I've met personally that, you know, participates in the lives. Miss Powell and Miss Ivy Dreams. I'm not going to tell you their real names, but let's see my family over here. Hi, Black family. Watch free movies all you want on Tubi, T-U-B-I, including historical Black movies. One of the best movies to watch is the story of Reverend Vernon Johns, who set the path for MLK Jr. Yes, good looking out. Worldview. We got to start having a conversation with our Black families and friends about our voting strategy for reparations, tangibles, closing the borders, etc. Yes, you do. Now, Nishi, a track star, give her a pass. She don't get no pass. Never that, DJ. Stop doing her bidding every time. All right, y'all. With that being said, I want to share with you before I close out with my favorite bookend music, my closing to this broadcast. I want to remind you that the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever Freedmen and its allies are, God truly is, because family, you are the face of God. You are the voice of God. You are the body temple, baby, of the Spirit of the living God. If nobody has told you today how much they love you, know that I love you, Black, and I love you oh so strong. Yes, I do. And until we meet again tomorrow, we're making the case for reparations, the weaponization of our vote, socializing our suffering. I want you to make it a beautiful, God-inspired rest of your evening, family. Until we meet again. Yes, family. And until we meet again, I'm believing for each and every one of us a ton of peace, love, and reparations. Yeah. That's what's up, family. Peace. I'm out.